case that we provide from the state of Tennessee every day, and we know that this pandemic is spreading across the state, and so we are going to take continuing actions to make sure that the citizens of Jackson and those who come here to work and to eat and to have their entertainment are protected and secure their health. So there's an amendment to the executive order from Monday. So whereas the city of Jackson has a responsibility to take all possible actions to ensure the health and safety of our staff and our citizens in the event of infectious disease pandemics. And March 11th, the World Health Organization declared novel coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. March 12th, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee declared a state of emergency to deploy additional resources to combat the spread of the virus. And on March 13th, President Donald Trump declared a national emergency over the coronavirus pandemic. Empirical evidence from other communities and nations indicate the spread of the disease is most effectively slowed by social distancing and reducing interactions among groups and people. And the goal of this administration is to continue to provide a high-performing government that will be flexible and capable of meeting the challenges of this pandemic as they come. It's now therefore I, Scott Conger, Mayor of the City of Jackson, by virtue of the executive and administrative authority vested in me by the Charter of the City of Jackson and the laws of the state of Tennessee, do hereby declare an amendment to the state of emergency as follows. All city venues will be closed to the public, with the exception of City Hall will still be open, but we will provide screening from our Jackson Police Department officer, all those who enter, and we will limit the number of entries into City Hall. All restaurants, those facilities that sell food comprises more than 50% of revenue, will limit their regular maximum seating to 50% or under of capacity, capped at no more than 100 people. Bar service at restaurants will be limited to 50% of capacity with no standing allowed. All grocery stores and pharmacies will make arrangements for their first hour of business to be dedicated to those who are 62 years of age or older. All bars and nightclubs will be closed. All venues open to the public will operate at 50% of capacity, capped at no more than 100 people. It's signed on March 18th, 2020. And so in light of everything that's going on, we know that people will be displaced. Employees are looking at risk of losing their jobs. And so I'd also like to announce today that we, the City of Jackson, has partnered with the West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation to establish a COVID-19 response fund to assist the citizens of Madison County. This fund is designed to provide a quick response to organizations working within Madison County residents who have been impacted by the novel coronavirus. The foundation is making an initial contribution of $20,000 to the COVID-19 response fund, and we encourage our fellow citizens to contribute as well. Gifts can be mailed to the foundation at 74 Directors Row, Jackson, Tennessee 38305, or they can be made online at wthfoundation.org. The foundation will administer grants to nonprofit agencies working with our most vulnerable communities in response to this crisis. These grants will address pressing issues such as residents who have experienced job loss or significant reduction in hours, residents who have lost income due to school or daycare closures, residents who lack adequate benefits to cover time off, residents who are food insecure, residents who are housing insecure. In order to make quick responses to this crisis, the foundation will not request formal applications for funding during this time. Instead, the foundation will work with local leadership to identify needs and the agencies addressing those needs and to recommend grant awards. Funds will be granted to local agencies as needed during the initial and ongoing crisis periods, with plans to make the first grants in the next few weeks. Those funds are limited to 501c3 agencies and are not available to individuals, so the agencies that are already providing the service will be the ones receiving the funds to administer that service. I'd like to tell our citizens that now is the time to be cautious, but we don't let fear guide us. I have hope. I have hope that as we've seen time and again, the people will persevere over the temporary circumstance. I have hope and I believe in our community. We will take care of each other and we will get through this together. We have to think about being a good neighbor, to keep our grandparents healthy. We can't control a lot of what's happening, but we can choose to be kind and to seek joy. So I encourage you to get groceries for your elderly neighbor, pick up dinner from a local restaurant, shop local, call and check on your family, That's how we beat this enemy together. So for those of you who have been impacted by the coronavirus, I tell you that I know that this time is frustrating. I know that you face a lot of different emotions. I can tell you that on a daily basis that I feel those same emotions, from anger to uncertainty to frustration, but always end the day with hope that we can get through this, that we take the necessary precautions, that we're making sure that we're keeping our most vulnerable population safe in this time of emergency, that we're choosing to make the right choices, not to social distance, not to be around each other, because that's the only way that we're going to prevent this pandemic from spreading even further. And so as we make those decisions, those tough decisions, those hard decisions, those economically impactful decisions, know that the city of Jackson is going to be here. We're going to provide service. We're going to support you. We're going to find ways to work with our state and federal agencies to make sure that you have that support in your greatest time of need. So that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
What can you say to the community members that are panicking and living in fear right now?
I think fear, along with what we're facing now, is our greatest enemy. So it's important not to be fearful. It's important that we're taking the precautions that are given to us by the CDC, by the local regional health department, and that we're making those decisions not only to impact ourselves, but to make sure that we're protecting that most vulnerable population.
When will this go into effect?
Immediately.
And then when it comes to testing, what are measures are we taking now instead of drive-through testing in the area?
Working on logistics for our testing right now. One of the sites that we're looking at is the fairgrounds. The concern that we have now is adequate resources for testing kits. I know that our president, our governor, has given numbers out for testing. I have to assume that those numbers that they're giving out are accurate, and they're going to the places that have a higher number of confirmed positives. We haven't seen an increase in the number of testing kits. We're still working to get a commercial testing sites and to be able to test in-house at West Tennessee Healthcare. So I know that West Tennessee Healthcare is working diligently to do that, working with Vanderbilt Hospital to make sure that we can get that. But all those things, unfortunately, take more time than what we're willing to wait on. But we are working constantly, every day, every afternoon, every night with our local health department, with the state of Tennessee, with our hospital to make sure that we're working to get those resources that we need.
What's our most updated testing numbers?
Oh, yes, I think we've tested we have additional 7 tests out, so I think that puts us at around 20 tests, 19 or 20 tests, and so we're waiting on 7 to come back. All tests that have come back so far have been negative. Yes.
So there's a large homeless population, especially in downtown Jackson. Usually they're all at the library during the day. The library closed, so has there been anything to have placement for them maybe during the day or anything like that?
Yes, so Air Relief Ministries is extending their open arm hours. We have enhanced public Wi-Fi spots around town. Public library still has their public Wi-Fi around the library. The library is closed. The farmers market has shelter, and so we also have public Wi-Fi there. We're working with Jackson Energy Authority to provide additional Wi-Fi spots. We want to encourage, I think the biggest risk to our homeless population not only is lack of resources, which is a daily risk, but also right now I think it's important that those nonprofits that work with our homeless population, those people who want to make sure that they're ensuring the safety and the well-being of our homeless population, are being careful about screening those volunteers to make sure that the volunteers aren't providing a risk to those that we serve.
You said $20,000. Are you going to evenly distribute that, or how are you going to do that?
So hopefully we just start with $20,000 and we can raise more. This goal is to work with the nonprofits. We have several nonprofits around town that work specifically with the needs. And so they will be working with the City of Jackson, West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation to assess what our greatest needs are and prioritize those and distribute those funds to those nonprofits so they can provide that assistance. This is ever evolving, so if I were to tell you today this is what we're going to do, this afternoon it may change. But we're going to prioritize the greatest needs as they come about. Any other questions? As we get more updates, continue to check back at the City of Jackson website with our City of Jackson social media pages. We provide updates at 4 o'clock every afternoon. The health department provides updates at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock every afternoon. So it's important that we stay informed, that we have the correct information, and that we're looking out for each other to make sure that we can combat this. Thank you.